Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining this session on Courageous Conversations at Qual 360 today. My name is Elizabeth Morgan. I'm CMO at Marketlogic Software, and I'm very pleased to be here today with Breezy Coates, who leads the Global Knowledge Management function at Moz Inc. Hi, Breezy. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone listening.
We're really here today to look at a very important fusion that is taking place in the insights world today, and that is the fusion of technology, artificial intelligence, and human intelligence. And for Breezy and I, we both very much believe that it's extremely important for that fusion of human and technical worlds to come together, to have courageous conversations, and to make sure that the technology provides a safe space for people to talk and contribute when they're working remotely and when they're forging a future in this very challenging time. So I wanted to just take a moment to describe the technology infrastructure we provide to Mars and to many other leading CPG and healthcare brands around the world to help them run an insights-driven business. Through these partnerships with the people that drive change in insights organizations, we've been very pleased to win some innovation awards, for example, with Visa Inc., and to win the Market Research Society Operations Award for the best retail data solution with Tesco. And all of our clients, I think, are looking for the best possible AI solutions to drive their business. And that's why we're also very pleased that Forrester Research, for example, assessed the market and named Marketlogic the leader for our AI capabilities in high value use cases and conversations for strategy, innovation, marketing, and sales. So, what that's all about is delivering market insights platforms that support the different jobs to be done along the value chain. And when you look at this schematic, the baseline of the schematic is where all of the different kinds of research and news feeds and syndicated sources that you subscribe to are connected with AI technology like glue to bring all of your consumer and market data together on one insights platform, one insights engine, sorry. And atop this, there's a digital insights workspace. And this is where experts like Breezy and her colleagues come into the platform to find past research, to conduct new research when there are white spaces in the knowledge landscape, and to develop insights, information, news, and intelligence products that engage their stakeholders. And they do this, as you'll see shortly, with knowledge zones and expert channels, so that ultimately the business assistant layer, the top layer of the platform, becomes a very easy and effortless place for stakeholders to come in and get answers to their questions, review the latest intelligence, browse important knowledge, and get their numbers. And the focus of the case study that Breezy is going to walk us through today is really about using that digital insights workspace as a safe and productive place for insights experts to think about inclusion and diversity in their work, to get important conversations going across their stakeholder communities, and to ultimately make sure that that relevant insights that promote these very important themes in current brand building actually make it to the people that need them when they're making winning decisions. So on that note, I'd hand over to you, Breezy, to explain what you're doing at Mars.
Well, Elizabeth is quite humble, and she forgot to mention that she is a co-founder of that wonderful platform that she just introduced to us. And now here I am coming to you and saying I haven't done anything quite exquisite or groundbreaking, such as building a business, such as Elizabeth has. I haven't saved any lives or shifted the industry. But what I have done is a small act of bravery that has turned into a big space for change at Mars. As Elizabeth said, my name is Brienne, and most people call me Breezy, and I've started a program at Mars that I've called Courageous Conversations. And this was really inspired by Elizabeth's and my relationship. We are both quite politically active, and we're very passionate about a lot of issues that are playing out in the world today. And we both came together several weeks ago and said there's important issues and topics to discuss today. So why don't we go ahead and be brave and go ahead and share these conversations and share a bit about the program that we're doing at Mars. So the idea is to really see how all of these racial injustices in the world are playing out in our own homes, our offices, our teams, and our own thoughts. So hopefully many of you on the line are familiar with Mars. On the left, we see the vision for Mars, which is the world that we want tomorrow starts with how we do business today. And this is grounding all 115,000 of our associates across the globe. And we are all united by the 5 principles of Mars, which span all the geographies, the languages, the cultures, and the generations. As you can see at the bottom, we have several billion-dollar brands from Pedigree to Snickers to Skittles, Dove, and Whiskas. So it's a massive business. We're spanned across the globe, and I'm very proud of this vision that the world we want tomorrow starts with how we do business today. Within Mars Wrigley, which is the segment that I am working in, our marketing leadership has come up with these 2 ideas here, that we build brands that can actually make a difference in the world. So Snickers, although is a wonderful treat to enjoy, we truly do believe that building that brand with a cohesive message can make a difference, and that difference also builds the brand. As a classic millennial, I'm quite active on TikTok. I'm hoping some of you have seen on either TikTok or whatever platform you choose to search on this put a finger down if challenge, right? So it spans across many different challenges. Put a finger down if your boyfriend cleans the house. But what's most moving and I thought was most heartwarming was this put a finger down if you have white privilege. So this is my favorite one here, and I would love if everyone would participate with us while we all participate in the put a finger down if challenge. So put up both hands, all 10 fingers, and you'll put a finger down if any of the statements are true to you. Let's play the video.
Check your privilege edition. Put a finger down if you have been called a racial slur. Put a finger down if you've been followed in a store unnecessarily. Put a finger down if someone has crossed the street to avoid passing you. Put a finger down if you've had someone clench their purse in an elevator with you. Put a finger down if you've had someone step off of an elevator to keep from riding with you. Put a finger down if you've been accused of not being able to afford something expensive. Put a finger down if you have had fear in your heart when being stopped by the police. Put a finger down if you have never been given a pass on a citation that you deserved. Put a finger down if you have been stopped or detained by police for no valid reason. Put a finger down if you have been bullied solely because of your race. Put a finger down if you have been denied service solely because of the color of your skin. Put a finger down if you've ever had to teach your child how not to get killed by the police. Any fingers left? That's privilege.
And we'll just take a minute of pause just to check in with you all and see if you did indeed put a finger down. How it really kind of hits you right in the heart, how some of the smallest things we don't even think about every day impacts millions of people across the world. So coming back to this high-level belief at Mars, as an organization, this purpose is the world we want tomorrow starts with how we do business today. And within marketing, the world in which the marketing of our brands is diverse as the world that they're enjoyed in. And all of this is to say that Mars Inc. overall is taking bold actions in this field of inclusion and diversity. And what we're actually doing beyond having wonderful vision statements and purpose statements is taking a lot of progressive acts. So across the organization within Mars Pet Care, Mars Food, and Mars Wrigley, we are tracking the number of characters within their race, their gender, their ethnicity, which language they're speaking. We are also a member of the Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media, tracking all of those numbers. And we are a founding member of an alliance to prove our commitment to this purpose and belief in the Unstereotype Alliance. So within marketing at Mars, Our senior leadership team has come up with this vision on how to make our marketing more inclusive in 5 steps. I just wanted to show you from a general brief overview these 5 steps to make marketing more inclusive in Mars. And the first is to use the 3 Ps framework from briefing to production. And the second is to be sensitive to specific topics, issues, contexts. And the third, looking for bias at all stages of the creative process. Fourth is understand the diversity of your local market. And fifth is to achieve inclusivity and diversity across the portfolio or the work versus trying to make every ad do something for everyone. So after hearing a bit about Mars, right, and from a high level what the organization is doing within diversity and inclusion, we wanted to bring this right back home and to say that in April, Elizabeth and I had a wonderful speaking engagement at ESOMAR, and we were speaking about how technology was enabling remote work as the pandemic had really taken off. So if we think back to April, I think back and we all went to sleep in one world and we woke up in a new world where we were all working differently. Research was being conducted differently. Remote work meant that we were finding new ways to connect. And at Mars, Elizabeth's team and her product really enabled all of us to work together to share our insights, to democratize the work to the rest of the business. And she and I were thinking back on how in April we woke up in this world of a pandemic. And most recently in the US, we have now woken up in a world of racial strife and protests and injustices. So even today, we're waking up in a new world, right, Elizabeth?
Yeah, and I think we wanted to think about ways that we could react and respond to that in the software, just as you had with the pandemic, right? And I mean, in our conversations, you were really making the point to me that the first fundamental issue is a recognition of language, right? Whether it's visual or written or cued.
Mm-hmm. Just before the pandemic took off, my boyfriend, who is a Black man, and I were out for dinner, and we had valeted our car. So at the end of dinner, we were standing out front of the restaurant waiting for the car to come around, and a white couple came up and handed their keys to my boyfriend. And it was kind of a normal occurrence for us because, of course, my boyfriend is Black, so he must not be, rich or powerful or equal enough to be eating at the restaurant. Of course, he must be working there, and he was mistaken for the valet. And we came home that day, parked the car, walked into the condo building where we live. And as we got on the elevator, all of the white people who live in the building exited the elevator because they were not comfortable riding in the same elevator cart as us. And I shared this story with my team back at Mars and resoundingly heard responses that this is America in 2020 and that can't possibly be happening. And I thought to myself that that's a powerful story that obviously affected my team, and the language that I use to share that story is really important. And although we all know this inherently, software and stories like this can teach us about it in new ways. So language can alter technology and it can alter algorithms. Language posits data and determines the stories that we tell from that data. As researchers, we know that our life experiences affect the way that we analyze our data and the stories that we tell from that data. In essence, language changes our lives. And it's interesting how often at Mars, I feel like when I share those stories, there's the perpetuation of this nice culture, right? And Elizabeth knows about this, that when I share these personal stories, it's like people feel like they always have to be kind of fake nice. And we wonder about that language and how it shows up not only in the software and in the technology, but also in the work that we do. And there's now this trend around being a Karen. And as 2 white women speaking to you today, we are very sensitive and aware of if we're showing up as a Karen. and wondering if maybe people on the line today have ever been called a Karen, consider themselves Karen, or even aware of this kind of new piece of language and the power that that holds as white women in the world. So we also think about, as researchers, one of the first things that we do as we're doing a piece of research is to collect information about participants in a piece of research. And when I was doing a knowledge harvest at Mars, I found that every single piece of research, we had a survey and a questionnaire that asked everyone what their race was. And I shared this with Elizabeth because how striking that I work at a business that is so bold in inclusion and diversity, and yet the first question that we're asking participants in a research study is, what is your race? So what does that mean?
And I think it's, sorry, I think it's also, I think it's also these same kind of language assumptions are also taken for granted in the technological world, because we assume, you know, that the tech giants are somehow neutral, that science is somehow neutral, in many instances importantly neutral, but there is an assumption that technology comes without bias. And of course, as we know, you know, much of the world's engineers that are creating all of our technology are typically male, and we are learning and understanding the biases that come from the algorithms that are generated, the equipment that is generated, and the spaces where the technology is deployed. And I think there's one horrific example was in 2016 when Microsoft released an AI chatbot, a wholly artificial intelligence chatbot they called Tay, Thinking About You was the acronym. And the bot was launched as a raw technology. So there were no human curators, there was no activity around it. The Tay's goal was to go into the world of social media and interact and talk to people and learn things and become you know, a great internet citizen. And as the bot interacted with trolls and with all of the vitriol that was going on in the forums that she was seeing, she actually, I think she began posting inflammatory and offensive racial tweets, and her behavior, the behavior of the bot, was so transformed in such a short period of time that it was decommissioned within 16 hours of the launch. And I think this was one of these big aha moments, you know, when you realize that you can't just deliver raw technology and expect to support important actions, strategic actions, thought, and courageous conversations. So I think this issue of language was really one of the starting points for Breezy and I to have a conversation about how very important it is to bring these two worlds together.
Absolutely. And as said, a few months ago in April, she and I came together to deliver a powerful message about waking up in a new world of the pandemic back in April. And now we have the opportunity to speak at this wonderful conference today, and we thought we've woken up in another brand new world of racial injustices. And so on June 19th is when I had this first conversation with the team that I've talked to you about, you know, sharing my story about my boyfriend being mistaken for the valet because he must not be equal enough to have dinner there still today. And that's just one story out of many that we go through every day. And I shared that, and I can tell you that the team at Mars was incredibly passionate and began sharing their own stories of things that are happening in their own countries, in their own homes, in their own lives. And a few days later, I came to my manager, the vice president of Insights at Mars, and I said, you know, I think these are really important conversations for us to have, especially for us to have in a safe space where we can share these stories, we can ask the proper questions. How does the language that we use reflect values that might no longer move us into the future that we want tomorrow, which is the Mars purpose? You know, we're all intelligent people, and we know that as researchers, and the stories that we tell from that research is only as good as the experiences that we currently have today. So how does that shape us? And I'm really proud to say that my leader, my vice president at Insights, was very supportive of these conversations. And coupled with that, other leaders in the organization began having company-wide webinars. So the president of the US marketing team delivered a webinar on inclusion and diversity. The APAC, the Asian team, also did something for us. So it was really powerful to see leaders at Mars also standing up from a high-level organization and speaking out on these issues. And with that sign off from leadership, I then began using the technology that Elizabeth's team provides for us. And I conducted a knowledge harvest. What does Mars know about race and inequality, racism in our brands and our marketing? What do we know about Uncle Ben's and the history of Uncle Ben's? And then I started to really build things within the technology. So I built a homepage channel, a microsite, which we call knowledge zones, and we also set up some news feeds. And so what this was meant was, as Elizabeth said, to create a safe space for us to come, have inspiration, have curated news, and things that I have made sure that are safe for the team to read, to be inspired by, and to honestly be challenged by. So after I did this work with the technology, we then had our first courageous conversation with a facilitator who is a consultant of diversity and inclusion in the industry. And she really helped us to build a 6-step process, a framework to have safe conversations, share our stories, and really get to the heart of some of these language things that we've been speaking about within our time today. And those conversations will continue to evolve. The community will continue to evolve. And today it's about race, and tomorrow it may be about something new and something different. The next topic that's affecting all of us, right? It is a platform and a safe space to talk courageously about the issues that are affecting us today.
It's a fabulous program, Breezy.
Thank you so much. We just wanted you to have a taste and a flavor of what it actually looks like. So as a Mars associate, when you log into our Central Insights platform, this is the first thing that you see upon logging in. And you can see that the second feed here is called Courageous Conversations. And this is a collection of all of the resources that I found in Mars, and I've curated them for a one-click fast access. So you don't have to search for anything. It's delivered right on your homepage with really easy, fascinating content for you. And say you want to dig a bit deeper and you want to find out what's really the meat and potatoes and everything that we really truly know about inclusion and diversity. And this is the microsite that I was talking that we call a knowledge zone. And what this zone includes is a nice introduction that you see here on the home page. And then we have several other pages within this website that are a complete directory of all of the resources that we have, such as webinars from senior leaders, such as marketing playbooks, brand actions, the evolution of Uncle Ben's rice that you've all heard of, as well as a safe space for us to share our own stories, such as my valet story and all of the things that we've gone through as a team together. And I just want to quickly call out, because I think that this is a really powerful piece of technology that Elizabeth's team has offered us. If you see at the very bottom, you see this is a safe space to ask any questions. Right below that, there is a Q&A feature that allows people either anonymously, or you can have your name there, to ask important questions around language, around Uncle Ben's, around anything that you might feel like you want to ask. And that when we say a safe space, we mean that we have all signed paperwork stating we're not going to judge anyone on the team for asking questions, right? We've really built a framework so that people feel safe, vulnerable, and they know that there's not going to be judgment when they ask these kind of questions like, what is a Karen? Or what is white fragility? And why do we ask what race you are on all of our insight surveys? So we thought it was important for you to see this and see how the technology is enabling this safe space and facilitating the conversations for us.
Breezy, what did your diversity leader say to the idea of using technology to back something like this? Because your first conversations and your facilitated conversations were very analog and private, right?
That's right. And I had explained to the moderator that we have this piece of technology where we can also see news and get inspiration about other competitors and whatnot. And she said, honestly, Breezy, I have hundreds of these conversations with other companies and teams every day. they always ask me, where can I go to find that article? Or where can I go to find these resources and educate myself? And she said that this was so inspirational for her to see that Mars has invested money in this tool, because everyone needs a safe resource so that they can go and find curated news, competitor information, internal information. Sometimes it's so hard when you work in an organization to really find where was that webinar or where was that brand playbook, So it's incredible that Mars invested in this tool. So even the moderator recognized that it was really enabling the conversations.
Good, good. So I know that it's a work in progress, but it must be something that you're proud of so far, right?
Yeah. And we just want to recognize, our whole speech today is telling you all of the things that we're proud of and everything that we've done. It also is to say we recognize that there's room for improvement. We will always continue to educate ourselves, and the courageous conversations both at Mars and in my own home and with Elizabeth will continue.
Thank you, Breezy. That was super insightful, and really, it's always inspirational to see how you grab the bull by the horns and go in to really take insights to and knowledge sharing to another level. So, thank you very much.
It has been great to be with you. We do want to close in saying that this conversation today, it's not meant to be aggressive or accusatory, and we hope that no one today has felt offended. Rather, we want to be brave and bold, to be courageous, and to facilitate a safe space here at Qual 360 for us as researchers, for us as professionals, to hold and mold our own thoughts and feelings on racial issues, on hot topics that are happening today, without judgment, without fear of being accused or fear of being offensive. So thank you so much. Stay well and be safe.
Thanks, Breezy. Talk soon.